Should you consider dating if you're a single dad? Of course you should. Hi there, men's dating coach HarryWilmington here, founder of introvertdatingsuccess.com. And on today, I want to kind of do a response video to the video I did called 10 Reasons Not to Date Single Moms. And I want to talk about whether if you're a single dad, should you be out there trying to date? And if so, why it could be to your benefit. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified of when I post up new videos. So I wanted to make this response video because the video that I did called 10 Reasons Not to Date a Single Mom blew up pretty good on my channel, and I got a lot of responses and a lot of subscribers off of that video. And the majority of people that were commenting agreed with my assessment, including some single moms. That said, there were a few women that commented on that video that were not too happy about my take on that overall. And I had one person ask a very specific question that I wanted to get to, which is, what about single dads? As much as I'm saying things about single moms and why men shouldn't date them, what is my viewpoint about single dads trying to date in the dating world? And I'm going to get into that in a minute. Real quick, guys, I got some great freebies at my website right now. You can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com, download the freebie called the Girlfriend Roadmap Checklist, which walks you through how to go from dating a woman to being in a relationship with her within a span of 3 months. And also my other one called 10 Pandemic at-Home dates that you can do right now. And these are dates that, if you've been wondering how to date in a pandemic and what you should be doing to impress women, this is a thing that's going to help you out. It gives you exact guidelines on 10 types of dates that are sure to wow women. So check that out at the website. Also, guys, if you want one of your questions answered on the show, comment down below if you're watching on YouTube, or write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. All right? So let's get into it. So like I said, the video that I did a couple of weeks ago was about 10 reasons why men should not date single moms. And I want to preface this by saying that in the video, what I said was that single moms are not bad people and that they too deserve love, but that as me giving advice to a guy, if he had the choice between two different women who had basically all the same personality traits and all the same types of likes and dislikes, and the only thing that was different between the two women was that one had kids and one didn't, that I would persuade you guys to go after the woman that did not have kids. And then I went through the video explaining reasons why. So it's not pointing them out as bad people, but it is assessing that women already have a form of baggage that is here called kids that is going to greatly affect how you date them. So if you choose to go after a single mom, that is in your right, but understand there are going to be some challenges that come up that would not come up with a woman that does not have kids. So in the midst of all the many responses that I got to this video, one of the ones that stood out to me was this question. And the lady said this. She said, well, single moms are a package deal. There is no certainty in relationships. At least I know one thing is certain. My child will always be there. If it means not being with a man again, so be it. So up to that point, I'm like, okay, realistically, people sometimes have kids thinking that they're going to birth this entity that is going to be around with them for life. And I can assuredly tell you that is not true. There are plenty of people who have falling out with their parents. There are kids that move away. I live in California. My mom's in Virginia. So the whole birthing so the kid will be around and take care of me stuff, that's not really a situation that I'm in. And she would not expect that of me, by the way, also. But a lot of women do have kids thinking, I'm going to have this thing that's going to be with me for life and is going to always love me. And that is also not always a certainty, just like this woman said earlier about relationships, okay? But then the last part of the question she said was, what about single dads? So what I'm getting at is that she's asking, what would I tell single dads? Like, as much as I'm saying, you know, guys shouldn't go after single moms, what would I then say to men that have kids? Would I be a hypocrite and say that they also don't, would I be a hypocrite and say that, well, single moms don't deserve love, but that single dads somehow do deserve love? And again, that's not what I said at all. I said that it's going to be harder for a single mom to date a single mom if you're a guy coming to the situation where you don't have kids. Okay, and that's very, very true. So what would I say to you if you're a single dad? Would I tell you not to date? And my answer is no, because I wouldn't tell a single mom not to date. But what I would say is that you need to be realistic and understanding that given your current situation, if you do have kids, that for one, you are going to chase away some women who want to start a family with a guy that doesn't already have kids. That is just a fact. There are many women out there that will turn you down because they want to start a family of their own or not have excessive baggage from another relationship, okay? So understand that that's going to be a thing. Understand that women are also going to sometimes have a negative feel for what you being a single dad could mean, whether it means that you couldn't stay with a woman long enough to take care of the kid or to be with her long term or whatever. Like, there are also negatives that come with that. So understand that because you have kids, that there are going to be some things that you need to look at and analyze. And I think the reason that a lot of single moms get hurt by that assessment is because they're adding the feelings component. Like, they're adding the part of, well, but what if I'm a good person and I really am not trying to look for this person to try to come take care of my kids and yada, yada, yada. Well, that's all feelings element. And we know as guys, we're analyzing the whole piece, which is realistically, as much as the woman can say, well, he won't have to take care of my kids. We know that if we go in there and agree to be the boyfriend, inevitably we're going to meet the kid, and then we're going to start taking the mom out, and she's going to want to bring the kid along, and now we're taking care of the kid, we're paying for the kid. That stuff is going to happen. And we know that on an analytical level. We could like the mom all day, taking feelings out of it, that is going to happen. So I think sometimes women get caught in their feelings and then get hurt when we say things like, don't date a single mom if given the option between a single mom and somebody that doesn't have kids because they're going to have more baggage. That's just an analytical fact. That does not mean you cannot care for a single mom. And again, I come from a family where my dad died when I was young. And also my dad's mom became a single mom because she had married a guy that ended up being abusive. And so she was single with 3 kids, and she ended up getting remarried to a guy that was in the Army, who I knew was my real granddad. And so, he took care of them, and he knew going into the situation what that would mean to be a stepdad. If you are a guy that's able to do that, that's perfectly fine. That's not saying that's a bad thing, but just you have to weigh your options and decide if that is something you want to do. As a guy that does not want to have kids, I know I can't do that, okay? But what about you, single dad? Given all that I've just said, why would I then encourage you as a single dad to go out there and try to date? And so I want to kind of go over that. I have 5 things here as reasons why, but first I want to go over this thing, okay? Back in 2015, 2016, the dating site Zoosk, Zoosk, they did a data analysis of men that were on their site, the types of responses they were getting to their profiles, both single guys and guys that had kids. And then they also did a survey of women asking about what kind of men they would go for on the site, okay? So, for one, an astonishing 83% of women said that they would be willing to date a single dad on this website, okay? Furthermore, they did a data analysis and found that single dads on the website got 22% more first messages than men with no kids, okay? So while you're sitting there thinking, man, me having kids is going to be a hindrance and there's going to be no way that a woman's going to want to date me, I think you're thinking at it from the angle of, if you were a guy going to try to find a woman and you saw that she had kids, you'd probably be out. Therefore, it's not worth your time. And yet, surprisingly, a lot of women that don't have kids are looking at men that have kids and saying, I would totally date that guy. So why is that? Why is it that it's flipped around whereby we're not really looking at women in that way, or women that have kids in that way rather, but like a bunch of women that are single will look at a single dad and say, I would totally date him. Here's why that is, okay? There'll be 5 reasons. So the first reason, very, very important, is that by you having a kid, it is evidence that you know how to take care of a kid and that you probably want kids, okay? Because you got to understand, there are things that women are looking at from a potential future mate that are different from what we as men are typically looking for. And one of those things is, A, does he want to have kids? And B, can he take care of a kid? So the fact that you've already done both of those things, you've now superseded the thought that she had about if you would do something, because there's already evidence here that you've done it, which means to her, that now takes away any question she would have about whether or not you'd want to actually have a kid, because she's going to be thinking that you're probably going to want to have more kids if you already have one. And also, it's going to show her that you're already caring for the kid if she's able to, hear stories from you about you spending time with your kid, or you showing pictures of the kid and just doting on them and how much you love and care for them. Well, those really play into a woman's need to be a nurturer, but also women are looking for guys that are going to then help them nurture the kid. You've already done that. So yeah, you're going to be at a better advantage than a woman that has kids, because as men, we're typically looking for a woman we can start a family with. Women are looking for evidence that you can take care of that family. And you having a kid already, you're already partially there. So that's the first thing. The second reason you should consider dating as a single dad is that realistically, you probably have more time to devote to that than a single mom would. In this country, even though it's 2021 and there's, more equality laws, the courts are typically still in favor of giving full-time custody to moms. And that's whether there's a mediator there, whether there's a lawyer there to facilitate it, or whether it's just the mom and the dad going to court and seeing what's the best situation for the kid. Especially for a lot of younger kids, most younger kids are still in that phase where they need to be more nurtured and more doted on, and that is traditionally going to the mom. That's not to say that men do not get custody, but it's more like 18% in this country, okay? So you got to understand that if you're a single dad, there's a good chance that you're probably not a full-time custodial dad, which means you're probably seeing the kid every other weekend, or you're seeing them during parts of the week, but then they're still going back home to their mom. That gives you a lot of hours and a lot of time to be able to devote to a new woman. Because unlike a lot of single moms where they're like, taking the kids to school, then they're coming home, they're looking after this and that, chances are in this country, because of the way the custodial laws are set up, you probably have more free time during your nights to take a woman out. And if you're having every other weekend for visitation, that means the other weekends that you don't have them, you have time to do a Friday or Saturday night date. So women are going to look at that and say, he's taking care of his kids, but he's not with them all the time, which means there's more time for us to get to know each other. And in the beginning of a relationship, people are really trying to be selfish with their time because they want that time to be able to devote to getting to know you. You probably have a lot of time to do that, so you might as well take advantage of it. The third reason to date as a single dad is because hypergamy doesn't affect what you are looking for in a new mate, unlike women. You see, a lot of women complain about the fact that, they're single moms and they want to fall back in love, but what are they looking for? They're usually still looking for a guy to come in and take care of stuff. So she could have 2 or 3 kids and she's doing it on her own and she's a raw woman. But at the end of the day, she's going to be looking for somebody that's making more than her and is in a better position in life than her. And so that's going to greatly affect the kind of guys that she's going to consider okay. Now, you as a guy, if you have a decent enough job, you have a car, you got your place of your own, you can find plenty of women that have less than that will be attracted to you. Like a lot of women that are single start talking about looking for these guys that are making like $100,000, $200,000 a year. If you're a guy that's making $80,000 and you come across a woman that's making like $30,000 or $40,000 a year, I got news for you. It's going to be very easy for you to attract that woman. And there are a lot more women out there like that than there are men women are looking for that are making over $100,000 a year. So because hypergamy is not going to affect you in the sense that you're already the provider. Meaning that, again, women are looking for guys that are going to come in and take care of stuff for them. But as a guy, you've been taught by society and told that you got to take care of yourself, that you got to be the one that's bringing home the bacon. If you have kids at home, you got to be the one that had that job that's going to be able to pay for their schooling and all this stuff. And so you're already the guy that's taking care of stuff. You're not looking for a woman to come in and make more money than you. If anything, you're looking for a woman to come in and be a helpmate and be a companion, but that's a lot easier to find again than if you were a person trying to look for a woman that's making more than you, if that makes sense. So because you're not having that focus as what you need in a mate, it's going to be a lot easier for you to be able to find somebody to get with. So that's the third reason. The fourth reason to consider dating as a single dad is because you're already showing off a lot of traits that women find desirable in men, okay? Traits that women find desirable include being a patient person, because if you're a kid, if you have kids, chances are you got to practice being really patient with them and not just yell out and freak out at them all the time. Kindness. If you have kids, you have to have a bit of a softer heart to be able to deal with them. You have to have more understanding because kids are going to be idiots and you can't be mean to them all the time because they're going to do a lot of dumb stuff. So you've had to learn to show an air of kindness that women are going to look for in a mate because they don't want somebody that's yelling at them all the time. They don't want somebody that's going to treat them bad or call them out on stupid stuff, or if they feel insecure about something that you're going to take advantage of them. They don't want that. You're displaying a level of selflessness because women oftentimes think that a guy that has kids is selfless. He was able to create this thing and then he's sacrificing his own self to be able to, and his own needs and wants to be able to take care of this entity. He is growing a human being, and that means self-sacrifice. And of course, responsibility. Because if you're a father, it means that you're now having to do things in order to show responsibility towards something that you created. And so these are traits that women find attractive in men, but it's not an easily seeable thing necessarily in a guy that does not have kids. So the fact that you have kids, a woman's going to already assume that you have these things, and then she's going to actually be able to see them in action when you are taking care of your kids, okay? And then the fifth reason to date as a single dad is because, let's be real, okay? Dad bod status is a real thing. But here's the reason why, is because a softer tummy in men represents a more relaxed approach to life. And it means that you are one who will not judge somebody on their appearance all the time. And this is really big for women, especially because they know as they get older, they're going to eventually hit a wall where they're no longer as attractive as they used to be, and their looks are going to start to go downhill. And so at that point, women don't want to be judged by their looks or have a guy fall out of love with them just because they're starting to lose that luster that they once had. So a guy that has a dad bod, they know, if he's got a little bit of a tummy and he's that kind of scraggy, whatever, well, it shows that you're not going to be judging her physical appearance, but also it's showing that you're relaxed, you're calm. It's showing that you're not going to have a care in the world and be too worried when things come up because you know how to take care of them. And so again, these are things that as a single dad, you might not have considered, because you're still thinking on the level of how you would think if a woman's going to come to you, or if you're trying to attract a woman, you're thinking like she's got to have X, Y, and Z. And so you're thinking women are thinking the same way, but they're really not. A lot of women are looking for guys that are nurturing, caring, kind. Yeah, they might not have the six-pack body, but that's also something that women sometimes fear because they think that if a guy has a six-pack, that he's going to try to cheat on her, or that all the women are going to constantly be throwing themselves at him. And so you got to understand that you may actually be in a position right now to be able to date as a single dad. Now, again, I want to stress, that does not mean every woman out there is going to want to date you. It does not mean that there will not be some hard conversations you got to have with women about, yeah, my kids come first, and I won't be able to see you every weekend that you want me to. And, if something comes up with the kids first, and I got to go to them. And sometimes you might have to deal with their baby mama because the mama's going to still be in the picture. Like, these are real things that women are probably not going to want to deal with. But with all that said, that does not mean that you should not try, because at the end of the day, women are looking for a kind, nurturing guy. And if you happen to be that guy and are able to display that because of the fact that you have kids, then there's no reason to not do that. And I want to stress to my previous video, yes, for any single moms that are watching this, I was not insulting you. I was simply putting out the facts of the matter, which is that most men are looking for women that don't already have a family set. So I'm not being hypocritical, and I'd say the same thing if a woman came to me and said, hey, should I date a single dad? I'd say you got to consider every single thing about that, and also you need to consider if there's another guy that has the same stats but doesn't have kids, would that be more preferable? Because at the end of the day, kids do add a significant amount of baggage and life change to you. There's a big difference between dating somebody that has no kids and dating a guy that has even 1 or 2 or 3 kids. That's a huge lifestyle change, okay? And so you can't fault anybody that doesn't want that. But that said, if you're a guy that is wanting love and thinks that you can go out there and find somebody that's going to not only want to look after you and take care of you, but also be able to accept your kids into their life, then I say by all means, go for it. Thank you for watching this episode of the Introvert Dating Success Show. If you found the info in this episode to be helpful, please show your support by clicking on the tip jar tab, the link of which can be found at the website and in the description below. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on this episode and catch new episodes every Monday and Thursday right here on YouTube or wherever a podcast can be found. In the meantime, be sure to check out the website for more great tips on how you can date as your authentic introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.